Hello and welcome. So we've got some surprise patch notes for Season 3 and Update 4.0.0. Possibly prematurely dropped, but yeah, why don't we take a look? I'm pretty hyped for this, and I love looking ahead and just seeing what we got. So this is pretty exciting. This is one of my favorite times in a game's development cycle, just seeing what's to come and what we have to look forward to. So PvP Season 3, learn about the new leader Emperor Tharasan. You've probably seen him already. You can unlock him through the bundle or through your guild rewards. Last season's new mini, the Chimera, will now appear in the grid and various troop choice rewards. It says January 21st here. I don't think that is current, so I think that they're planning on adding this to the grid soon in the soon to come update if your game has not been updated yet. Probably after January 24th or so. Please note that a larger update with improvements to the PvP modifiers will be arriving in a separate update early next week. As a result, players will notice some PvP modifiers changing shortly after the beginning of Season 3 in order to accommodate this new structure. Rest assured, any progress made this week before the changes occur will not be lost. So this means you can keep PvPing. Any rating you gain will carry over into these new changes, and any rewards you gain will likely carry over as well. But if you maybe there will be a bug, and you can claim rewards twice. Who knows? We'll see. War Chest. War Chest Crest will no longer be immediately granted based on players' new honor after a season reset or re-earned for honor below that value. Instead, all War Chest Crest rewards per 200 honor gained per family have been greatly increased. So I don't think this is live just yet either, but I've seen some people getting crazy amounts of honor for the amount that they're farming. So maybe there's some bugs going on here, or maybe something's coming. I'm not entirely sure. I'm getting 40 still from this range, but perhaps after the update on January 24th here, we'll see some changes. So you can take a look at this at your leisure and make your own conclusions based off of that. So January 2024, 24th, check out plenty of PvP improvements now with random maps and a new enchant mod type. We've also increased war chest points rewards from PvP honor and made some adjustments and fixes to troops, leaders, talents, and more. PvP improvements and structural changes. Maps will now be selected at random when you match with an opponent. Embrace the chaos and keep things fresh. So I don't know exactly how many maps will be in the pool, but it's going to be interesting to see how this affects the meta. My initial impression is that people are going to be picking safer picks overall, with a few exceptions. So, for example, I believe that people will be incentivized to take pick lock on their bandits if any maps in the pool have chests on them, simply because getting that little extra 2+ gold will be a massive advantage. Whereas, if the pool only had gold mines on the maps, you would probably just take poison instead, just for the extra damage. So, in general, I think people are going to take safer decks, and the meta may become more homogenized as a result, as people are trying to pick a deck that is safer across a wider variety of maps and has units that perform well on all the maps instead of just the one where you can have a hyper specific deck loadout. Now, there may be exceptions to this, and in any PvP game I've played, there's always the one quirky person who has to play their token strange deck that is terrible on one map and is incredible on another, and it leads to some frustrating experiences as a result because you feel like you're playing map roulette. But it'll be interesting to see how this actually shapes out and how the randomness impacts the meta. Previously rotating map modifier will be replaced with a new modifier type. So we're getting an entirely new modifier. There will be 3 modifiers, it looks like, and they will change on a 2-week rotation for a total of 6 weeks. So there will be one changing every 2 weeks, and you'll see something new as a result. These types are tower type, mods, and enchants. Enchants evolve as the match progresses. The first enchant this season is Collateral Damage, which causes players' bases to take damage whenever a tower they control is captured. So this could dramatically change how games are played depending on how much damage the towers do when they are lost to the base. And this could result in a type of meta where you're trying aggressively to take the towers and kind of snowball from there, or possibly add chip damage to the base with spells or what have you while you're trading towers, and it could lead to some very volatile games. Or perhaps it could reward smart, more calculated play where the win condition is to chip the base down by taking the tower and making good gold trades, efficient trades. So it'll be interesting to see how that kind of plays out. Some existing mod types have been moved to the enchant category, with new mods arriving to take their place. Keep an eye out for the new mod Bounty Hunt later this season. Bounty Hunt awards players a bonus gold for every 5 enemy minis they kill. This one will be interesting. I think it means that you're going to be disincentivized from playing squad-based minis because this will lead to your opponent kind of snowballing their gold. Additional PvP improvements. PvP wins will now reward 2 reward pips and dailies and players' daily rewards. So this means if you're trying to finish your daily task where you have to win 9 matches, you can do it in 5 wins in PvP, which is a really nice quality of life change, particularly for those people who like to PvP. And it can let you get into your daily ritual a little bit faster, get through it a little bit faster if time is short. PvP wins will now reroll green quests. This is pretty cool as well. So if you are trying to maximize your experience, I think this is a pretty big incentive to do PvP and kind of mix in a little bit of PvE in between with the quests. So you win in PvP and it rerolls the quest, which normally happens every 30 minutes if the quest is green. And when it rerolls, there's a chance that it becomes rare, which gives triple experience, or it becomes epic, which gives 5 times experience. So what this means is if you're winning a lot with PvP, you can be cycling your quests pretty quickly and getting a lot more experience that way. And I think it promotes a more healthy dynamic between questing and PvP as a result. Players will earn slightly more honor if the leader being played is below the average honor of their top 3 leaders, has fallen below that leader's peak honor for the current season, has won several matches in a row, and is considered to be on a win streak. So overall what this means is there's going to be a little bit of inflation or metal injection into the current PvP environment. It's going to be a little bit easier to climb, particularly if you were a higher rating that season. So if you fall, it's a little bit easier possibly to return to your peak honor and resume your climb. So it doesn't feel as punishing to lose. And also, if you want to bring up other leaders and you want to do that 4-leader climb, which people would talk about, okay, well, you can climb with your 4th highest leader, and then there's no threat of losing your rewards because your top 3 maintain your reward bracket, and then the 4th one can climb and drop. So there's not that pressure of losing or that anxiety on you. So that'll be nice for climbing because you get increased average honor from any leader that is below the average honor of your top 3 leaders. Treasure chests will now spawn 15 seconds after a match begins rather than immediately, giving players some time to contest. This is an incredible change that it's going to make it so certain maps like Alterac Valley are a little bit easier to get different minis into play in the center and to contest the chests. And it's going to push the meta a little bit away from Prowler. I think Prowler is still going to be an incredible mini as well, but it still will give you the opportunity to contest the middle without having to rely on faster or fastest minis as a result. So I really like this change, and I think that it is a good change to help make the center of Alterac Valley a little bit less volatile at the beginning, a little bit less hand dependent. You know, you get a bad draw where you don't have Prowler. Well, now it's a little bit more forgiving because the chests don't spawn for 15 seconds. Resolved a rare situation where players would be silently matched with a ghost game and lose honor if they left the PvP queue before matching with another player. I've never had this, but I've seen the more devoted PvP players talking about this. So yeah, this is a really nice fix if it works. Resolved a visual issue where minis would sometimes not appear to return to the tray if players decided not to deploy them after dragging them out of the tray. So what I hope this means is if you pull a mini back in your hand after trying to play it, and you try to put it back in your hand, it puts it back in your hand. Because the issue I've had in the past is I try to put my mini back in my hand, and it plays the mini anyway, even though it's clearly in my hand. And it's because it looks funny. So I'm hoping what that means is if you put it back in your hand, it puts it back in your hand, and it doesn't play the mini. So we'll see what that actually means. Maybe it's trying to say that it resolved the visual issue, and it fixes that, but, you know, we'll see. Guilds, players can now use their equipped emotes in guild chat. I'm looking forward to my guild chat being cluttered even more and having a harder time reading things, but also I think it's kind of cool to see those emotes in a context outside of PvP. Arclight surges. The Arclight surge started pop-up will now only indicate the currently surged zones as intended. So that'll be nice, just so you're not like looking all over the map and wondering where your Arclight surge is anymore. Okay, so in the grid, they've made the change where mini info and talent info can now be viewed for relevant items in the grid. What I'm hoping this means is if you select a mini to buy in the grid or a talent to buy in the grid, it allows you to look at the many you have so you can see how many you have, and you can kind of make a judgment call based off whether or not you want to buy additional stars for the mini in the grid or not. Talents in the grid will now display the name of the mini they belong to. That's a nice quality of life change, I guess. Relics, Aegis of Battle should now cause critical striking minis that deal 2 times damage as intended. It was 3 times damage. Quickly, guys, everyone exploit this bug right away because it hasn't been fixed yet. Exploit early, exploit often. Yeah. That would be nice to take advantage of. I'm a little bit sad to be seeing it go. I didn't realize it was doing 3 times damage. But yeah. When this patch drops, I guess that'll be fixed. Shadowblade's description has been updated to clarify how its bonus damage works. I really wonder what that means, but I'm guessing what it means is the mini must have the trait Stealth and Ambush specifically, the Ambush trait. Maybe it's just the Stealth trait. They must have the Stealth trait in order to benefit from the 5 times damage instead of being classified as Stealth, right? Because like if your mini has Stealth, like if you have Gnomish Cloaking Device on your save pilot, it doesn't benefit from Shadowblade because it doesn't have the Stealth trait. So I think what they've done is they've added the word Stealth trait specifically to the description of this relic. New relics have been added into the pool. Play some dungeons and try them out. Bloodlust Epaulets. Your minis gain Bloodlust below 50% health. Oh goody, another way my save pilot can bug. But yeah, honestly, that's pretty cool. I'm hoping that there's some protections, though, on how many different Bloodlust relics you can get, because when you get like 3 or 4 of them, well, now 4, offered to you in the same run, there's a lot of overlap and they lose value. So we'll see how that turns out. Vanishing Powder. Your minis cast Smoke Bomb at 50% health, stealthing nearby allies. That seems pretty cool. I actually am pretty excited to try and force a Shadowblade run to occur, but I've not really had much luck having Shadowblade appear in my relic runs when I try and get it. So, but if you could get Vanishing Powder plus Shadowblade, that would be a lot of fun because you could have these chain reactions of basically stealthing all your minis at 50% health and then getting the Shadowblade 5 times damage over and over. And you could do a lot of damage that way. I think that would be a really fun run to have. So hopefully we can see a cool little interaction between Escape Potion and Shadowblade in our runs, but we'll see. Escape Potion, at 50% health, your minis blink teleporting backwards. It's disabled, though, until they fix it. Absorption Drape spells leave behind a mana crystal, granting resist to the first ally who touches it. That'll be nice. So, particularly in, let's see, Gnomerigon, I believe, where you want a lot of elemental resist. Yeah, any dungeon where you want elemental resist, that's going to be a great relic to have, particularly if you can get it offered early. You might be able to run like a beefy mini like Abomination and then engineer a situation where the Abomination can grab that or another tanky mini, what have you. I just picked the first one that came to mind. Go ahead and experiment with it. Maybe you'll find something better. Heart of Fire. On death, your minis leave behind a Heart of Fire, granting double damage to the next attack to the first ally that touches it. So that could be interesting as well. You know, maybe like you use some squad minis to generate that. That'll be an interesting one to mess around with. It seems kind of like meh on first thought, but you know, anytime there's like a doubling of damage, that's something you gotta keep in mind because those doubling modifiers can really stack out of control really quick. So that'll be fun to play around with, I think. Soul Seeds. On death, your minis leave behind a flower, healing the first ally that touches it. It'll be interesting to see how much that actually heals for. Now we have Leaders. Baron Rivendare. Baron Rivendare's passive skeletons will no longer spawn from under construction towers and meeting zones. Oh my god, that is huge. I'm so happy they have done this change. I'm so tired of going to take a tower and then my mini's attacking the tower and then a frost mage spawns behind the tower and pelts my mini while it's happening. So my mini dies for free and I don't take the tower. That is so annoying. If this thing goes through, I am so happy if they fix this. Oh my god. Best change of the patch by far. Karen Bloodoff. Karen should now retain Bloodlust after resurrecting via the Rebirth talent during blood sport surges. I wonder if this is limited only to the surges or not. But yeah, he generally retains these buffs. I've noticed he retains armor when you use like Shaman with him, so hopefully this is a good fix here. Emperor Tharsan, ET phone home. Emperor Tharsan now has the Bombard trait. Okay, I don't really know if that affects anything, but interesting to know nonetheless. And then Tyrion Forging. Tyrion's Divine Shield talent should now properly ignore damage from an enemy Dracasath. Yeah, I've noticed that my Dracasath pushes have just one-shot Tyrions on the regular. So, you know, hopefully for those Tyrion players, that's fixed. Big sad for me, though. Troops, Angry Chickens. Angry Chickens using the Walking Crate talent should no longer be immune to Polymorph. So now you can polymorph those crates. Angry Chickens using the Walking Crate talent should no longer be hit by ranged enemies below them while crossing a bridge. Yeah, that's a little bit weird. I've never seen that, but nice little fix there. Corehounds. Corehounds Guard Dog talent should now deal 50% extra damage as intended. Was 150% extra damage. I don't know if anyone was benefiting from that bug, but sorry. Yeah, they've fixed it. So now you're only going to benefit from 50% extra damage. Kind of a chunky nerf to that talent. But it was only if they were in front of the tower, if I understand it correctly, or the meeting stone. Null Brute. Brute's Pillage talent should now properly activate Sneed before Greed bonus, so you get 2 gold if you kill a tower or a chest, or capture a meeting stone if you have the Pillage talent on your Null Brute. That'll be a nice little synergy for that duo. Griffin Rider Mighty Throw talent should no longer cause her to switch targets sporadically. So if you have played Griffin Rider, particularly in PvP, you may have noticed that if you have Mighty Throw enabled, basically, like, if someone spawns a mini right underneath the Griffin Rider and she's already attacking like the barracks, she will turn and attack the newly spawned mini. So this should theoretically fix that. So this is a good change as well because it makes the mini more consistent. It was possible to play around it before, but you had to be mindful of it. And this is just a little bit nicer of a change because now it's, you know, consistent with the rest of the game, other than the minis that are designed to do that, like Chimera, which will target based off of health. Huntress. Huntress's Darnassian Steel talent should no longer grant her an unintended +1 range. This was considered her weakest talent. I'm a little bit sad to see this one go, I guess, because it was her weakest talent. And I was hoping to experiment with it using Emperor Tharsan, but yeah, I guess if it's a bug, you gotta fix it, right? So, Safe Pilot using the Gnomish Cloaking Device talent will now properly attack while bloodlusted. So it was with Gnomish Cloaking Device. That was what was causing it. I never actually put that together, so I guess their QA was really putting this one through the runners, trying to figure it out. So hopefully they finally fix this Safe Pilot Bloodlust bug. This is another big fix, another big win for the patch. Yeah, I guess I hadn't really noticed it as much since I had switched to coming in hot. I use coming in hot a lot more now. And yeah, this is a big win if they fix this one, because this is like a big bug that it seems to impact everyone, particularly if you are running like dungeons and you get any of the relics. Spiderlings and Plague Farmers have been given the elemental trait as intended due to their non-physical damage type. Basically all this really means, because they are already doing elemental damage, is that army slots that favor elementals will now favor them as well. So it's a nice little quality of life change, I guess. You can slot in like a Plague Farmer into an elemental slot or whatever, or spiders. But who plays spiders? Come on. Spells. Blizzard. Blizzard's Cold Snap talent should now properly stop enemy movement even when the enemy has a speed buff. Yeah, I noticed this as well. So like Gargoyle with the Wing Buffet, or Buffet, however you pronounce that, or Hogger, if he was deployed multiple times, they would keep moving even if they got hit by cold snap blizzard. So this should fix that. Great change, another fantastic fix. Glad to see this. Glad they're fixing the important changes that are the important broken things that everyone's been whining about. Cheat death, vampirism talent should now properly trigger when affected minis deal damage to a boss. Okay, so I noticed that vampirism doesn't seem to work if you go to 1 health. I'm wondering if this is actually what's causing it. If you're like attacking a boss or like barracks or something and you just stop healing. So this will be interesting to see how this impacts it. I've noticed that sometimes you just don't heal using the vampirism talent, so maybe this is the cause. So looking forward to trying that one out as well. I like to play it with Thalnos, but yeah, any minis would really benefit from this. So yeah, that's the patch notes. I'm actually, if they deliver on this patch, I am stoked for the future of this game because these are all really good first changes, and really they've addressed some things elegantly that I wouldn't have even considered, like these PvP changes for trying to drive engagement. Wins will now award 2 pips in your daily rewards, and they reroll green quests. This is a much more compelling reason to try and do these things throughout your day to get a little bit more rewards. If you're enjoying the game, at least, if you're into the game, these are some great changes. So yeah, let me know what you think about the changes down below, what you think they could have done better, and yeah, hope to catch you on the flip side, and happy rumbling, y'all. Take it easy. Peace.